Sneakers and Cleats, the podcast. Welcome back to the Sneakers and Cleats podcast. It is Wednesday, September 13th. This is our 24th episode of the Sneakers and Cleats podcast in the last 2.5 months. I don't know. It's kind of going by quickly. This is our High School Hype Squad episode of the podcast where we highlight two local teams that will play on Thursday night lights this week, reviews the week in high school athletics. As always, I'm Matt Roy, but we are changing it up a little bit. Got Zack Hedrick in here, our reporter and anchor in the sports department. Zach, how are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on.
I'm surprised you got some sleep finally after coming back from the Cowboys game.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday have been, it's all kind of bleeding together a little bit. So,
what time did I know Jack Green only schedules early flights. So, what time did you guys leave the stadium in the Meadowlands on Sunday night? And what time did you leave on the plane?
Gotcha. I'm having to think back here. So, we were leaving MetLife probably a little after 1 o'clock in the morning, so midnight here, and then we got back to the hotel maybe 1:30-ish, 2 o'clock, and then from there we were able to actually take a little breather and dry out, because of course poor Jack was just soaked to the bone.
Oh yeah, the torrential downpour that was in the Meadowlands,
and then just tried to dry all the equipment out, make sure everything was still working. And then I went to work on cutting some stuff for the morning and the next day. And then we left Newark. We left for the airport probably about 5 o'clock in the morning. So we had a few hours, to kind of chill out a little. I was working for the next 3 after we got back to the hotel.
So you didn't really sleep?
No, I took a quick power nap because I did hit the wall at one point, because I didn't go to sleep. I woke up at Saturday at 9 o'clock in the morning and I didn't go to sleep until the plane ride up.
That's so ridiculous.
Anyway,
and then Jack came back and went and got us previews that we're going to hear a little bit later of the Boerne-Champion team. So you guys are just a couple of warriors here. I'm not even going to complain. So this is episode 24. One thing we do on the pod is the number 24. What person in sports history does the number 24 remind you of?
Well,
first comes to mind.
I know you had some good ones listed down, but I think for me it's Ken Griffey Jr. Because growing up and watching that era of baseball, I mean, he was a Ranger killer. I mean, he was good against everybody, and probably the sweetest swing in all of baseball.
Most beautiful swing ever.
You also have the Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays. Sticking with the baseball theme, you got Ricky Henderson, all-time stolen base king. And then
24 is a good number.
24 is, I mean, it's baseball heavy, but then, I mean, we can't leave the NASCAR audience out. I mean, Jeff Gordon, he didn't really wear the number 24. He drove the number 24. And then Marion Barber, R.I.P. For the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, that guy was just a bruiser of a running back.
And I mean, Kobe is the one that came to mind instantly.
Yeah, and obviously that goes without saying.
Right.
Him with 24 and number 8.
Do you think of him more as an 8 or a 24?
I don't know.
You're a little older than me. So.
I would probably say 8 because that's what he first was, I guess. But he's one of the most popular players of all time.
Yeah, I always think of 24 for him just because that's that's like core memories for me.
Uh-huh.
But him with 8, that's when I was actually a fan of the Lakers when he was wearing 8 until they traded Shaq, and then he changed his number and wanted to get rid of that whole
era
of his life. Yeah, one of the most dominant teams in NBA history. But anyway, so that's always fun to in Mike Greenberg's book, the one where he assigns all the numbers to everybody 1 through 100. 24 is Willie Mays. So
that's a good one. That's solid.
He's probably the greatest baseball player of all time. He's top 3. Probably.
Yeah, just all around athletes.
Yeah.
I mean, all-time center fielder. So and could swing it too. So.
Well, let's get to some high school football. Week 3 was interesting. Got a lot of surprises. Main takeaways, we'll give that for Week 4 coming up. We go over our TNL top 10, which is actually more of 11 this week because of an interesting lightning situation that happened on Saturday. Then we'll go over to the sub top 10 as well for divisions 1A through 4A. Also got a preview of our TNL matchup, the Boerne Boerne-Champion Chargers and New Braunfels Canyon Cougars. Hear from the coaches, players, all that in a second. So through 3 weeks of the high school football season, Zach, what stood out to you the most so far? Any main takeaways?
No big surprise. I was going back over the scores, and I didn't really see too many big surprises in week 3. Reagan had a great second half to open district play, which, really kind of, I think, was a strong case. I mean, first home game, so maybe that was kind of, a little bit more higher expectations for them, but they came out in the second half and really turned it on, had a great defensive second half, not allowing too many points until right at the end.
Right.
And, of course, with Cole Pryor and their new quarterback, Jackson, I believe, he committed to Texas State. I didn't realize that he had transferred in, but he is something that I think is going to be a nice change up for them to have that passing attack is to go along with Cole Pryor's running. It's going to be really fun.
I didn't realize that Caleb Capuccio shifted to receiver.
Yeah, and he had a great
year. He had a really
great game against Clark. My gosh, caught all 4 balls thrown his way, and it was like 140 yards or something. That big slant play in the second half that really kind of got their offense going. So it's going to be fun to watch Reagan, and it's all kind of coming to a head when they meet up with Johnson later on.
Yeah, all the games were pushed back on Friday to 7:30, or all the north side and northeast games at least. And so I was telling Zach on Friday when I went on for the 9 o'clock show, the score was 17-14 Reagan. And then when I came back, it was 38-14. I was like, what the hell happened? There was only like 4 minutes left.
It was quick. Yeah, Reagan can move the ball fast. And of course, their defense added a score too, so that always helps.
Right. Another big one, big surprise of week 3 for me was our TNL game. Harlan beat Brennan for the first time in school history.
Yeah, what a comeback, huh?
27 points unanswered.
Yeah,
to win that game.
Well, you were there in the stadium. What was that atmosphere like?
They were checked. The crowd was kind of checked out there in the first half, and then you get to the halftime and it's 28-16. So you're like, okay, there's life. And I asked Eddie Salas about it, and he's just like, we keep punching back. We just have to stop them from punching us first.
Sure.
And then that's exactly what they did in the second half.
That score right before half. They could have just kind of packed it in and then said, all right, we'll see if we can't get. But it was so big for them to get that score right before the half. I think that really kind of started, hey, we're in this still.
Because they did something kind of like what the Giants did on Sunday Night Football. They turned it over and gave up 2 quick scores to Brennan, and they could have checked out. Their entire sideline was like, here we go again. And then out of nowhere, they get a good play and they score a touchdown. They're coming back, then they miss the extra point, and then Brennan comes back 2 more quick scores, and it's 28-6, and you're just like, or 28-7, and you're like, what the hell is going on here? And then they come back and they score 27 straight points, and it was wild. So that was one of the biggest surprises for me. But let's go through our TNL top 10. We'll take their game or week 3's kind of game by game as we go through.
Let's do it.
So Reagan 3-0. They beat Clark. We just went over them a little bit. They actually have a bye week coming up. How crucial you think that kind of like bye week is? Do you think sometimes that kind of stops the momentum for teams?
It might, but Lyndon Hamilton knows how to handle a bye week, I'm sure. And with the talent that they have over there up at Reagan, it's not. I don't think it's really going to be an issue for them. It's maybe a chance to catch their breath and really they can dive into that Clark film and go, okay, here's how we can maybe avoid a slow start like we saw in the first half, and then just get out from the gate running from the jump. And they should be. I think they should be all right. Just both sides of the ball. They'll get rested up a little bit and be good to go for the rest of district play here.
Yeah, and they come back against Marshall with. We love Coach over at Marshall, but they're having a down year. So it shouldn't be too bad of a comeback game next week after their bye week. And then you have Johnson this week, who will get to test the theory of how teams come off of their bye week, because they're playing Churchill this week. And that game had to be pushed back to Saturday at 11 a.m. because Churchill had to finish their game on Monday night.
Right.
So because the Lightning, they were in overtime in the Chuck versus Don Bowl on Saturday.
Yeah,
Churchill-Madison. So actually, I think Chuck has to sing the Churchill fight song next week.
Are they going to do that on the air?
Will
Chuck have to do it on the air?
They'll do that on here. on the podcast.
All right.
Yeah, so we'll get that, and we'll send that out and really blast Chuck.
There we go.
Because so Churchill beat Madison 28-27 in overtime on Monday night, and because of UIL rules, Churchill now has to play on Saturday. So Johnson and Churchill will play on Saturday, 11 a.m., which should be a really good game. This is the first time Churchill's been 3-0 in quite a while, and Johnson now number 2 in our TNL poll. So that should be a great game coming up on this Saturday.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, by virtue, somebody's going to catch their first loss of the season, but that's going to be a good one to watch. Ron Harris over there at Churchill, a really hard-nosed coach. He's going to have his players ready. It's kind of almost like a short week, but yeah, it gets that extra day going to Saturday. But 11 a.m. on a Saturday, that should be a lot of fun. But Coach T.P. Miller, he's got a bunch of playmakers over there too. So that should be a fun one to watch on Saturday morning.
Gives them even more time too, because this will be like a little over 2 weeks that they haven't gone with they've gone without a game for Johnson. So, and then we have Warren is 3. They're 3-0. They just killed Holmes in the second half. I mean, 42 points in the second half. They end up winning 73-20 in an improved Holmes team. But Warren is one of the classes of 6A here in our area, so they proved what they can do again.
Yeah, Holmes is really improved. I mean, each of the 3 weeks, I think they've taken the first possession and scored a touchdown. Isaac Martinez knows that offense inside and out. Has been playing, I think, almost for 4 years. So he's really good. I like him at quarterback.
A big bowling ball, man.
Yeah,
he's a big dude.
But then also, I mean, on the flip side, Tony Meza and Warren. I mean, he's also a guy that's very experienced. Been running that Warrior offense for a couple years now, and can sling it around. So Warren got off to a hot start last year as well. I think surprised a few people this year. I mean, again, they've kind of have to go through a gauntlet a little bit, but. Yeah, I guess Warren going against Jay on Saturday, so
that'll be a good one.
That's another undefeated matchup too. But Warren, I really like, and that should be a fun team to watch as they get further and further into district play.
I hadn't seen Jay in person until this past week, and they blew the doors off of O'Connor, and it's an improved O'Connor team as well. But Jay is really. I mean, they returned the opening kickoff, and they basically could not stop running all over O'Connor.
Yeah, they have a two-headed monster between Jackson Gutierrez and their running back, Jack Mota. Really strong rushing attack. So their defense, we'll see if they can stop some of these high-powered offenses that are coming up on their schedule later this season.
But, I mean, that should be a really good game on Friday at Gus, 7 o'clock. You'll probably be at that game filming. I'll say filming. Don always makes fun of me because I say filming and not shooting games. But you'll probably be at that game over at Gus, so it's going to be an exciting one for you to shoot or film, no matter what you say.
We'll check it out here.
And then we have Steele at 4. I think Steele should be higher, but Carlos makes these, so we'll give Carlos the credit here. Steele 2-1. They beat Hutto 57-27 in last week. Scored all their points in the first half, and held Hutto, who scored 80 points the week before, to 27. So that's another statement by Steele.
Yeah, it is, and a good bounce back game after coming up short against Lake Travis. So Steele's probably right on track. Midland Legacy, excuse me. Don't know too much about them, but they're usually a team that also is pretty high up there in the standings as far as just they're kind of a playoff team here and there. So we'll see how they do. I think it'll be another good test for them. Of course, Steele's in a district where they only have like 6 teams or something like that, so there's a lot more non-conference or non-district games. But it should be another good test for them. I mean, they're at home, so that always helps.
Isn't that the same district where San Marcos can't make the playoffs?
Yes, correct.
So 4 of the 6 teams and 1 can't will make the playoffs?
Yeah, so basically it's 5 teams fighting for 4 spots.
Right. So I mean, I think Steele will be fine.
They should be. I mean, Chad Warner, Royal Capel, they're still finding some players on defense, but really this latest game that they had where it ended up 56-27, that's not really indicative of, like you said, it was over by halftime because I think it was 56-7 at half, and it was like, okay, this is done.
Yeah, I mean, in the second half, Hutto's going to get their points, but I mean, you put them away in the first half just like the Cowboys did, and it's just like, all right, well, we can get some other players some run here.
Exactly.
So, Harlan, number 5, they're 3-0. They're 1-0 in district play. They defeated Brennan on TNL, as we discussed. I was extremely impressed with Noah Ferris, first of all, and the sheer joy after they beat Brennan, because this is like little brother coming up and punching big brother right in the nose and saying, you know, you're the little guy now, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it was exactly that kind of feeling around that win. I've never, like, we've done a lot of these TNL games, and this year or last year, I have not been around a team more excited afterwards. I couldn't even get 2 questions into coach because they dumped some Gatorade on him. So, I mean, it was just a fantastic atmosphere afterwards.
Yeah, really excited for Harlan. I mean, that district 29-6A, it's almost kind of flipped a little bit. You know, the teams that were at the bottom last year are now at top. You know, you talk about Soto, John Jay, Warren. You know, it should be a lot of fun to see what Harlan can do here, and it's kind of a little bit of a roller coaster for them because they're going against some teams that are still looking for their first win in the next couple weeks, O'Connor, Stevens, but then they also have Warren and Soto kind of, you know, so it's like you got an 0-3 team and then you're back up to an undefeated 0-3 team back up. We'll see how the schedule plays out. So it'll be interesting to see if Harlan can kind of keep this consistency of these performances that they're looking for.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to come out. I wouldn't be surprised if they came out flat against O'Connor on Thursday, just because they're coming off of such an emotional win.
29-6A is such a tough district.
Yeah.
I mean, because there is no easy out.
No.
So you're going to get everybody's best shot, and I wouldn't be, you know, Coach Mileski, 0-3, that he's going to coach him even harder.
Yeah, exactly. We had Coach Mileski on, I think it was week 1 last year, and I was just like, that guy scares me. I don't know what he does.
Yeah.
How these high schoolers feel about it. He is a tough guy, man. So they go against O'Connor Thursday night in Ferris, 7 p.m. Then number 6, we have Smithson Valley. They're 2-1. They destroyed East Central 57-7. 585 offensive yards for them. Cade Sprawling had 8 rushes, 118 yards, 3 touchdowns. Daniel De Hoyos had 8 rushes, 110 yards, and a touchdown. Can keep going on stats if we want, but they're a damn good team, as always.
Yeah, the beat goes on for Coach Larry Hill up there in Smithson Valley. And you mentioned the offense there. I mean, the defense has been strong, too. Their only loss coming against Reagan, where they just held them to 17 points, which is really good considering what we've seen Reagan's offense can do. So I think they're averaging, 11 points per game is what they're giving up. That's really, really good.
Yeah.
So, again, look for Smithson Valley to be up there at the top of the standings and looking to make another deep playoff run here come November.
Yeah, I mean, 2-1, but their one loss was by 1 point in week 1. I mean, it's almost like the big fad right now. It's 2-1 with an asterisk. If you you know what I mean? It's like
it's a factory up there at Smithson Valley.
Absolutely. So they're playing Wagner this week in a game that should be extremely entertaining.
That could be high scoring. Again, that's where I would give Smithson Valley just a bit of an edge because of their defense, but Wagner runs a unique offense to where, it's assignment football. You have to be very disciplined, but again, I feel like that would play into Coach Hill's hand because it's just like, he is a disciplined coach.
Right.
And it's like you're going to play your assignment, you're going to do your job. So that should be a lot of fun. Wagner, though, going into Ranger Stadium, that's a tough atmosphere, but the Thunderbirds and Rangers, that's going to be another fun game. Yeah,
I mean, it's not going to be an easy game in any respect, but Smithson Valley's rushing game is unstoppable almost, and but Wagner's D line is incredible. Like they have prospects all over their D line, so it's kind of like the immovable object and the hard place over there. So they're not going to be able to move anybody. So we're going to see how that goes. It's going to be an interesting one for sure.
Right.
We'll probably have those highlights on Friday as well. I mean, just looking at it. Alamo Heights, they are 7, I believe, in our rankings here.
Yep.
Another blowout for them. I mean, we say it every week. Their district is just not one that they need to be a part of. Their last 2 games, they've won 156-7.
Yeah, it's a tough district, but it's a tough district to kind of gauge where they are as a team, just because they are head and shoulders, above everybody else, but you never know. They could have an off week, or, knock on wood, they might run into a tough situation with an injury or something like that. You never wish that on anybody, but, we'll see kind of what other names that Ron Rindeman can run out there and get game time experience with. That's the name of the game, I think, when they go through this kind of schedule, is they can create a lot of depth in a hurry and get guys that have game experience. So then if somebody does go down, it's like, it's all right. We've got somebody else who's played a bunch of ball, and we know they can step in and step up.
Yeah, I mean, and you get those players that playing time early on in the season, and then when the playoffs do come around and someone goes down, just like you said, it's like, all right, step in, you'll be fine. But it almost it doesn't give them that kind of game experience in those close games. It's
sure
because you're not playing that competition that you're going to play in the playoffs.
That is a good point. There is a gulf between the competition that you'll face in district versus what you do in the playoffs when it comes around to that time. But maybe it also gives them some confidence of just like, hey, yeah, we're a really good football team. We've, had this wide margin of victory all throughout the season. Who's to say that we can't do it against this team?
I mean, but it's not like you're playing like the Liberty Hills that they've lost to twice in a row now in the playoffs. Right. You're not getting those games where you have to learn, okay, how to win in a close one. You're learning how to win in a 81-0 game.
Sure.
So they beat Highlands this week. They're 3-0 now, 2-0 in district. They play McCullum on Friday at Harlandale Stadium at 7 o'clock. And then Churchill, it was 8 in our rankings. So Churchill was 8. We didn't want to move them out because they didn't lose by the time we did the rankings because they played on Monday.
Yeah, just undetermined.
Yeah, so undetermined. So we left them at 8. They beat Madison as we discussed. They play Johnson 11 a.m. Saturday at Comalander. And then Sotomayor. So Sotomayor cracks the top 10 for the first time ever in their second year as a program. They defeat Stevens this week 35-0. They have outscored their opponents 125-0 so far on the season. That is incredible for Coach Juan Morales.
Yeah, impressive stuff from Coach Morales and his squad. Just second year of varsity ball. It's going to be interesting. I mean, this week, if it goes to chalk, should give them another W against home, so 4-0. If Jay holds serve too, again, Jay's playing Warren, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But just looking at the next 3 games for Sotomayor, Holmes, Jay, and Harlan. Those are teams. Jay and Harlan are undefeated at this point as we sit and talk right now. So it's like those are 2 games coming up for Sotomayor that I think will be really, interesting challenges and I guess measuring sticks for them. Just see, okay, yeah, are we actually making that second year leap in this second year of our program?
Right, and I mean, when it comes to leaving teams scoreless, I don't know if they'll be able to do that against Holmes, but because Holmes, one thing they can do is score.
Track meet,
they can score. I mean, we saw that last week.
There was a game where they had it was like 49-42.
Yeah,
and I think that was with MacArthur.
Yeah, they scored on every possession in the first half.
Yeah,
and so I mean that's one thing they definitely can do is score. That's what we kind of talked about with Holmes a little earlier. So. Soto, though, 125-0 in their first 3 games is very impressive for a second-year program, no matter what the competition is. So then we have Burbank and Jay tied at 10. Wanted both of them to make it. We didn't know what was going on with Churchill, so Chuck kind of made the call there on having Burbank and Jay tied at number 10. Burbank beat Brack 56-14, 3-0 overall, 2-0 in district. Next game is against Highlands on Thursday at Alamo Stadium. Highlands actually leads that series 26-6 all time. The last time Burbank won was in 2019. So hopefully that'll be a competitive one over in Alamo Stadium.
I think so. Burbank, I think, I could be wrong in this. I'm kind of going off memory here for my history, but they're in the same district as that Alamo Heights team and all those other SAISD schools. Burbank finished second last year, I believe. I could be wrong on that. Apologies if I am, but Burbank appears to be kind of that second, that team that will kind of be in that second spot in that district with Alamo Heights and everybody else. So they're a really strong squad this year. They've got some experience on both sides of the ball. So I look for Burbank to be competitive and who knows? Maybe they could be the ones that challenge Alamo Heights for that top spot. We'll see.
Let's see it. That would be entertaining. Burbank and Alamo Heights whenever they go against each other this year. And then Jay beat O'Connor 43-13. They're now 6-20 against the Panthers in their last 26 games, but handily beat them on Friday. Like I said, opening kickoff they took back, and then quarterback was running all over him. So.
Yeah, and we talked about Jackson Gutierrez and Jack Mota before. That running game's really potent, so we'll see what they do. Jay's got, just looking ahead, kind of further down the road, they've got a tough 3 games to end the season. So we'll kind of see how they fare through this middle part of the schedule, and then what kind of head of steam they have going into that final push.
So sub TNL top 10 is teams 1A through 4A. Just going 1 through 10. It's Cuero, they're 3-0. Somerset is 3-0. La Vernia is 3-0. Boerne is 2-1 and doing so without Jackson Bays, which is impressive. 5 is Jourdanton, they're 3-0 as well. 6 Randolph 3-0. 7 Bandera 3-0. Hondo 8 3-0. 9 Divine 2-1, and 10 Navarro 2-1. You see a lot of 3-0 teams there. So some early undefeateds in the sub TNL top 10. So let's get to our TNL game of the week. It's Canyon and Boerne-Champion. Both 2 new coaches.
Yeah, first year
relatively.
Guys. Yeah,
relatively. I mean, new to the head coaching role.
Sure.
Not new to the environment or to San Antonio or to the programs. I mean.
Right.
Coach Ellis has been there for 10 years. This is his 11th. He was the defensive coordinator the entire time that Kaiser was there. And then you have Coach Leonard, who was an offensive coordinator for 2 years and now is taking the mantle. So what are you expecting Thursday?
That's a good question. To be honest, don't know too much about these teams other than just, kind of what we've seen so far in these 3 games. Haven't been able to dive too much into them, but I know Coach Leonard, being a former UTSA guy, he's he wasn't around when Coach Traylor was here, but he seems to, be picking up and kind of taking a page out of Coach Traylor's book. It's like they lost Deuce Adams at Canyon. He transferred out, went to another school, and it's like, yep, that's fine. We wish him well, but we're going to keep on going. This Canyon team could be 3-0 if not for a tough loss to Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial Week 1. They were in that game too. So this weekend, this Thursday night, I think, with Coach Ellis being a defensive guy, that's going to really kind of be an interesting matchup because Canyon, I think they can score. So that Champion defense versus the Canyon offense, that should be a lot of fun. Plus, Canyon is coming off a really emotional victory in the Worst Bowl. That's worst WURST. I'm not calling the teams the worst ever. No. It's the Worst Bowl.
Because why wouldn't it be?
Yeah, because well, it's New Braunfels and it's German and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, for folks outside of the market listening to this, they beat New Braunfels. That's an emotional game coming off that one. So plus a short week. It's kind of a wild card, this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you lose someone like Canyon did, who's a Louisville commit and leaves for Vandegrift as soon as the coach leaves, it's like, okay, well, someone else has to step up, and someone else has stepped up.
Yeah.
I mean, Canyon is getting representative, not just representative quarterback play, but very good quarterback play. And but from, I think, Reese Dietrich is their quarterback's name. And they're all very good over there, and they're very well disciplined. He said it to me a little bit ago that the theme of this year is grit. They're just there to grind it out. They're there to beat you down, and by the fourth quarter, if they win, they win. If they lose, they lose. But you're going to know that they were in a battle in Canyon.
Yeah, sounds like a very Trailer-esque approach.
Yeah, absolutely. It almost sounds like they're from South San, the way they kind of grind things out. That's what Coach Barone said to me week 2. And then for the Boerne-Champion Chargers, I mean, I was up there last year for one game, and last year they kind of had a down year.
Sure.
But the community around Boerne-Champion, it's a small town feel north of San Antonio that it's just like Friday nights are almost like a religion. It's that kind of feel around Boerne and Boerne-Champion, and it's just a really awesome atmosphere.
Yeah, and in Boerne, don't forget they're across town school. They're guys across the street. They made it to the state final last year, so I think that maybe has kind of elevated the Boerne-Champion level of competitiveness to be like, hey, we can't let these guys just take all the glory here. So that there's always a bunch of ball players up there in Boerne, and they just come out of the woodwork and can play some ball. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to see Champion play on Thursday night and clapping eyes on them in person.
I also love that their quarterback's last name is Ballin.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, what a great last name for for a football
Very
player.
Fitting, right?
He's straight up Ballin.
Yep.
So let's get to a couple of the interviews here. We've talked to Coach Ellis. We'll go to Coach Ellis first since we were just talking about Boerne-Champion. Let's do Coach Ellis first, and then right after that, you'll hear an interview from me and Coach Leonard. Coach Leonard was having some Wi-Fi issues up at the Canyon campus, so that Texas Hill Country will get you.
We're lucky enough to have Coach Blaine Ellis for the Boerne-Champion Chargers, the undefeated Boerne-Champion Chargers, might I add, onto the Sneakers and Cleats podcast. Coach, how are you today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here with you.
Absolutely. And we're excited to have you on TNL for your first time as a head coach. So how's the year going? You can't ask for more than 3-0, I guess, right?
I know. Yeah, it's been really good. Our guys are doing just a really good job. Our coaches have, we got a lot of new guys on our coaching staff this year as well. And so it's just been fun to watch, the entire team from top to bottom come together.
And Coach, it's not like you're a new face coming into Boerne-Champion. You've been there a little while. I think you were there almost the entire tenure of Coach Kaiser, right?
Yes, I was. I actually came over to Champion from Marshall with Coach Kaiser. And so this is my 11th season at Champion.
How is it having this kind of be your team now instead of Gino, not just the defensive coordinator, but you know what I mean, taking over as the lead guy now?
Yeah, so that's been a fun transition as well. There's definitely a whole lot more to it. Just building a program and managing both sides. And I feel like I had a great mentor in that through Keith, and he did a great job of really kind of cluing me into what it takes to be an athletic coordinator, be a head football coach. And so it's been a fun transition, being able to manage both sides of the ball now and managing the entire team.
Coach, I know I'm having an interesting interview because my dog will come in and walk right behind me at the desk, and that's what just happened. So, this is going well.
Yeah.
So 3-0 right now. You guys are coming into TNL, facing off against another new head coach over at New Braunfels Canyon. How is that for you guys? Do you know what to expect? Do you not know what to expect? Is it just like kind of a bunch of unknown?
No, I mean, just being in the profession for as long as I have been, and being in Boerne, knowing the community of Boerne, and really knowing our campus, that's been a tremendous blessing for me. As far as navigating some of that transition, that's been a huge help. And I have a great relationship with Coach Leonard over at Canyon. We've talked quite a bit over these last few months because we're both getting into this thing fresh, and so we've had some good conversations, and it's been good. We've leaned on each other a little bit over the last few months. So
we'll love to see it. You guys are going to be squaring off as head coaches this time instead of working against each other as coordinators. So
that's right.
I love to ask this question, kind of get kind of into your guys' heads when it comes to your team a little bit. Give me a couple of players, 2 or 3, maybe on offense and defense, that you think just stand out, not above the rest, but on the field as well as off the field. They're just tremendous in both aspects.
Yeah. So, I mean, to be quite honest with you, we've got just a long line of guys that are tremendous on the field and off the field. Several guys that we've got 12 captains here at Champion. We call them our dandy dozen. And so they really do a good job and we do that because we want a good representation of our team and what that looks like. And so it's been really, really good to have that leadership within our team. A couple of guys that really just stick out to me, leadership wise, on the field, off the field. One would be Sawyer Boley. He does a tremendous job. He's actually a 2-way starter for us this year. We've kind of gone down that road with him, and he's just really, really embraced it and done a good job. I've talked to Sawyer for a long time. He's a 3-year starter for us, even as a sophomore, leaving his freshman year into a sophomore year. Towards the end of his sophomore year, I started, talking to him quite a bit about leadership and going beyond just football and what it looks like to lead within the program. And so he's done a tremendous job over the years of just developing as a leader and being involved within our community. The next guy up would be Jordan Ballin, our quarterback. He is Mr. Community, and we've talked about community for a long time. Really since November, we've been talking about it. Building our community and building the brand of Champion and what it looks like to have that community. And there's not a guy that's pushed that more than Jordan Ballin out in our community. A lot of these guys we talk about, and I think it's what's cool about our program is we got a lot of multi-sport athletes. And so when you look at a Jordan Ballin, he took two sports, football and baseball, and he's really, really focused on building that community and building that sense of pride in Champion. And so that's been fun to watch him over the last few months take ownership of that and go. Another guy that really does a good job for us defensively too is Gage Goldberg. On the field, he's a tremendous player. And I still think his ceiling's very high as far as his play goes because he hadn't played football for very long. And so he's continuing to learn the game and continuing to develop. And it's just been fun to watch him grow on the field. And then also
played football for.
What's that?
How long has he played football for?
So he started playing football his freshman year here. So,
nice.
Yeah, most kids come in with 2 or 3 years under their belt, maybe even more. And so it's just been really fun to watch him, just his knowledge of the game and his commitment to the game. And really Gage's work ethic is tremendous. Off the field, he's doing everything he can to better himself, but also better the team. And so our kids really rally around that and do a good job. And our senior leadership within our program has been really, really good.
Coach, what's the community around Boerne-Champion? I was at one of your guys' games last year, and it's like a fan base that I hadn't seen before I went up there. And so I was kind of taken aback at how all in everybody was at this game up in Boerne. So can you tell me a little bit about what makes those fans and what makes the community around your guys' team so impressive to you? Yeah.
So, there's not a better place to be on a Friday night than in Boerne, Texas at a football game. And especially, at a Champion game, we fill up our home side stands and it's packed. And if you don't come and buy a ticket early, you ain't getting one. And so I think it's very, very special here in Boerne. It didn't take me long, 10 years ago, it didn't take me long to feel that, coaching in my first game at Champion and feel that community support and that sense of community. And so it's continued and I feel like it gets better every year. A couple of weeks ago, we're in a tight one against Eagle Pass. We come back late in the game and we win by a point. And, we talked about what a community builder a game like that is, to keep our fans engaged and keep them rallied. And it's just been really, really fun to experience that. I believe Boerne is just kind of, we have a joke here, and it's one of the last strongholds kind of in the state as far as that sense of community, that small town. We still have that small town feel, even though we are, right next to San Antonio, we still have that small town feel. And so it's our community does awesome coming out and supporting and coming together. And they really value a Friday night. And our district does a good job of valuing a Friday night and what it means to a community and how it brings them together.
How is it for you guys? You kind of just said it's that small town feel right outside of San Antonio. How is it for you guys, not just as a football team, but kind of as an entire school and different athletic programs, like whether it's volleyball or girls basketball or boys basketball? How does everyone support each other, even the cheerleaders and dance and band and all that stuff? How does everyone kind of support each other in your guys' program?
Yeah. So, one thing about our athletic program is we have a lot of success, and we're very lucky to have that. And we're very grateful to have that. And so, as a community, one thing that we talk about all the time here at Champion is to be great. And we talk about that throughout our athletic program. And so what we feel like is that builds a sense of community within our athletic program. You know, if I'm playing girls basketball, I'm hearing the same core principles that maybe some of our water polo and swim kids are hearing. And so that helps build a sense of community where we're all kind of speaking the same language. The other thing that I think really is important is our community expects us to be great, expects us to be good. And so that's and I'm going to say this right now, you know, you're going to get me on my soapbox here, but part of what makes a program great, there's five things that make a program really good. And one of those things is parents. And we have parents who are invested in their kids. They're invested in the programs. And that's what helps make our program really, really good is the investment that we get from our parents.
I'm sure they let you hear it too, huh, Coach?
No, it's all good. Like I said, they're invested and they want what's best for their kid. And so we embrace that.
All right. Well, I love it, Coach. So you guys are going to be on TNL. Last question for you. Looking towards this matchup with Canyon, what are going to be those keys to victory? If I'm interviewing you after the game on Thursday, and I'm like, Coach, you guys just beat Canyon so much to so little. What are going to be those keys to victory that you're going to tell me we won because of this?
Yeah. So number one, we got to play as a unit, and we got to have consistency in our play. And we talked about that with our team over the last really 3 weeks. You know, we've kind of been a team of halves. So we played a really good first half against United South, and then kind of slowed down. And then against Eagle Pass, we had a slow start and then a strong finish. And so last week we felt like we really put a full game together. And so that's been our message to our guys all week this week is to put everything together, you know, as it should be rolling into a district matchup. You know, you've had pre-district to make certain adjustments and find out a lot about your team. And then offensively, obviously we've got to take care of the football, and then we got to win explosive plays. We got to manufacture explosive plays and win those. And we feel like if we do that, we're going to be in good shape to be successful for the evening. And then defensively, we've got to play fast and angry. We talk to our guys about that all the time, and rallying to the ball and just playing downhill. And so that's huge for us. And then obviously, same thing defensively is we want to limit explosive plays.
Got to control the sense of controlled aggression on defense, Coach.
Yeah, no doubt.
Love it. That's my favorite saying on defense. Controlled aggression. Like, go beat the crap out of somebody, but do it in yourself. You know.
Yeah, it's a fine balance. You got to walk.
It is. Well, Coach, we appreciate the time. I don't want to take up too much more of it, so we will see you on the sidelines tomorrow night. I keep thinking that it's like 2 days away, but it's literally tomorrow.
Yeah, it's here. We're ready to go.
It's here. Well, I'm excited. Hopefully we have the same energy as we do on Fridays in Boerne as we will tomorrow night on Thursday. So it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. We're looking forward to seeing you guys out there.
All right. Well, now joined by Coach Nate Leonard over at New Braunfels Canyon. Coach, besides all the Wi-Fi issues we may or may not be having, how are you today?
Well, I can assure you we're having Wi-Fi issues, but everything's going good over here. Coming off of a really nice win against New Braunfels High, good New Braunfels High team. And before the connection issues, we were talking about, kind of a little bit about what it meant to our community. And I'll tell you, this is a historical win for Canyon because in the history of the rivalry, Canyon has never gone back-to-back victories against New Braunfels, and we were able to do something that's never been done by winning this past Friday night.
I mean, it's a heck of a win for you guys, especially for you in your first year as the head coach. What did that mean for you to cap off first 3 games with something historic like that?
For me, I love it. And selfishly, I certainly love it. I think it speaks volumes to me about our kids, about our athletes, because, we had some changes in the off season, obviously some shuffling around of coaches. Some kids in key positions graduated or transferred. And I think it just is a tribute to our kids for being unselfish, completely bought in to our program to show that through obstacle, we can still continue to have success and put a good product on the field.
You mentioned the reshuffling of coaches. You were one of those coaches who's kind of shuffled around, thrust into the head coaching role after 2 years of offensive coordinatorship. How is it going for you so far? How have these first 3 games in this offseason been?
I'm learning every day. I'm learning every week. I tell people that I was a bad head coach in week 1. I did not do a great job of preparing our kids for the good opponent that we played in Corpus Christi Vets Memorial. And I also tell people that, losing in week 1 made me a better coach in weeks 2 and 3. And, I think it's a huge growth opportunity for myself, and I'm learning, and I don't make the same mistake twice. Really, I try to learn as I go, and I want to be a great head coach for our community, for our athletes. They deserve the best, and for our assistant coaches. So I'm not perfect. I'm not ever going to be perfect, but I'm gonna learn and grow as I go.
Something I've come to learn in the couple of years I've spent here in San Antonio is that every high school, every community kind of has like their special sauce. Everyone has something that they kind of hang their hat on. For New Braunfels Canyon, if I asked you guys, like, what's your special sauce, whether that be in your community, in your team, what is it?
It's grit. Right. So our walls talk here, and it's a page that I took out of Dan Campbell's book at the Detroit Lions, and I watched Hard Knocks and kind of what they did in training camp and the identity that they had, and then obviously they have week 1 success against a really good opponent in the NFL, and it's every great organization, every great team has an identifier. They have an identity, and ours is grit. Our kids are hardworking kids, tough kids. We don't have Division I offers on our roster, not one. So it's not like we're having success based upon talent alone. We're having success based upon the unselfishness of our team and the complementary football that we've been playing on all 3 phases. And the great teams that have come through Canyon, or the success that has come through Canyon, has always been about the chemistry of the team and the morale of the troops. And I think we've gotten a good grip on that here this year, and we're just hoping to continue to ride that wave.
So do you guys keep the kneecaps that you bite in like a trophy case, or is it, kind of like that mentality, biting kneecaps?
We're scrapping. We're doing whatever we can, whatever it takes to win. But grit for us, if we define it here as being tougher for longer than our opponent. So the only thing we run out of is time in a game. That's our mantra. If we lose, it's because we run out of time. But yeah, we hang our hat on knowing that when a team leaves the field against us, they've been in a fight. They've been in a 4-quarter battle.
Coach, tell me a little bit about maybe 1 or 2 or 3 players on offense, 2 or 3 players on defense who have really helped propel you guys to this 2-1 start, and also might even be better people off the field than they are on the playing surface.
Matt, I could talk up and down our roster about that.
Hard to whittle down. I know it's hard to whittle down,
especially for being great kids off the field. We traditionally have great academics here at Canyon, and our from 2021 to 2023, we've quadrupled the amount of academic all-district athletes that we put on the academic all-district team. So, off the field, these young men do a phenomenal job. Offensively, I'm partial to the center position. I'm partial to the offensive line. I'd be remiss if I didn't start with our center, Pola New. He's not only a football player, he's a state power lifter for us. His sister plays volleyball for our, successful Canyon volleyball Cougarettes. She's also a state power lifter. So the family, strong family, and big time Canyon community family. Those guys really stand out. We've got more. I could go on and on about all of our guys, but I know we've got a limited amount of time. But offensively, those are the guys that really stand out to me. Defensively, I got to start with our corner, Ray Stanley. Had 2 picks in the 4th quarter against New Braunfels, pivotal picks. He's a leadership council member. he's kind of the spirit of our team. I really believe that as the team goes, Ray goes. I mean, he really leads our locker room and is a young man that really has a presence in the classroom and in our community, and someone who we've had since he was, a freshman. He's a senior now, and someone that's really developed in his role as a leader here at Canyon. Colin Ott is a linebacker for us. You'll notice him because he wears this huge neck roll back like in the early 2000s, late 90s. I mean, he's every bit of a linebacker that you want. Wears shimmels to school,
Real throwback.
He is, man. He's everything you want. If we had a crossbar face mask, I'm sure he'd wear it too. But does
he tape up his fingers too?
I haven't noticed that, but I'll certainly be on the lookout for that and suggest it if he doesn't. But excellent grades. Family is very active with our program, and all the graphics that go up on social media are made by his father, Brandon, and just a really good linebacker, solid physical player for us. In my opinion, embodies what it means to be a Canyon Cougar. We're a developmental program, and we've developed him since he was a freshman, and his weight room numbers have skyrocketed. His endurance has skyrocketed. His football knowledge is off the charts, and his family is super active and involved. And that, it's funny because I feel like I've mentioned that with every kid I've talked about. Our community is so special. It's certainly noticeable. And then Duke Nagy, he plays our star position, which is kind of it's like a rover. It's like a secondary rover. He's a safety. He's whatever we need him to be week to week. He's number 0 for us, senior leadership council member. One thing I want to mention about Duke is he lost his mother to cancer in the spring, and handled it like a man. Just really resilient kid. Went through some struggles with losing his mother. But a lot of his teammates, a lot of his coaches were there at Mom Teresa's funeral. And he is an emotional leader. He's a physical leader.
Well, that was Coach Leonard and Coach Ellis right there. You can tell how much they love their teams. They had some funny moments with them as well. So let's hear from Boerne-Champion player Sawyer Boley. He's a receiver and safety. He's a senior. And then let's hear from their quarterback, Jordan Ballin. Quarterback, he's a senior as well.
Wow, 3-0, start the season. What's been working for you guys so well so far?
I think this year we have a really great team chemistry. Our guys are more excited to play. We have a lot of energy, and our coaches have been giving us really great game plans each week.
When you take the field with this defensive unit, what do you like about these guys?
Our defensive unit is a bunch of, as we've been described before, we're like a pack of wild dogs. We just go in and hit everybody as hard as we can. I like that about us. We're a physical team.
How much change was there? Obviously, you're switching coaches. You're going from a legendary coach to somebody who's been on the team. What was that change like? Was there much that you guys actually saw from a standpoint of, okay, is there much of a difference?
There was a little difference at first. There was just changed a couple small things we do, and I think there's definitely a different kind of just element to it. I just think Coach Ellis has done a great job establishing a new kind of mentality for us, and coming in with a windshield mentality is what he calls it, to kind of forget about the season we had last year because it wasn't exactly what we wanted, and focus on the future and go dominate.
How much different is this now after 3 games from last year when you guys were not winning and things were not going your way?
It's much different. Everybody just seems so much more excited. Everybody's really into it. Last year I feel like there's a little lull just once we got down a couple games, which we weren't used to in this program, but this year we're back to normal, and we're feeling great about this season.
When you found out that you guys were going to get to showcase your talents on TNL television for all of South Texas to be able to chance to see, how exciting is that for you? I know you got to worry about the game, but still, everybody gets a chance to see what Boerne-Champion football is all about this year.
Yes, so we're excited to showcase our talents, and I think we're going to surprise a lot of people with this game coming up.
Without giving away any secrets, what do you guys need to do in order to slow down a very good New Braunfels Canyon team?
I just think we need to execute what we're doing. Our coaches have a great game plan. If we execute what we're being taught, I think we'll have no problem keeping up with them.
What's been working for you guys, especially on the offensive side of the ball?
We really believe in each other this year. I feel like last year we're kind of single-handedly, what's the word for it? Playing for just personal use. With this year we've kind of grown together, and we've been playing since middle school. So just like Sawyer said, team chemistry is very illuminate, and it's just working together, and every day we come out here attacking. So I think that's what team chemistry is, the big one.
Were you a starter last year?
I was, yes, sir. Yeah.
How much different is it this year from what you guys were running last year? Did Coach Ellis come in and change a whole lot? Was it kind of like, okay, we kind of know what we're going to do, maybe a wrinkle here or there?
Yeah, no, Coach Ellis has done a great job. He kept what was working last year and changed what didn't work last year. We still run the spread offense. We still very fast tempo, and a lot of our starters last year were first-time starters, and now this year, getting back into the groove of things, they've stepped up to the challenge and worked very hard, and we're able to showcase in these last 3 games, and they've done very well.
When you take the field with this offensive unit, whether it be in practice or in a game, what do you like about these dogs?
We play for each other. We keep each other accountable, and we play for the name across our jersey. We play for the community behind us, and we just fight till the end. A bunch of these games we go up during halftime, and we kind of fizzle out from last year. But this year we've kept the gas going, kept punching it in, and that's what I like.
How much more satisfying is it now to be 3-0 and to give this Charger Nation exactly what they're so used to around here is winning football?
Yeah.
How gratifying is it now on your senior year to go ahead and give them back what Charger football is all about?
Oh yeah, it feels great. Last year I felt like a lot of people were just kind of down on us, and this year we're able to bring up those spirits again and make Boerne football a lot more enjoyable this year for sure.
Get to showcase your talents on TNL this
yes,
week. It's as a senior, doesn't get any better than that to be on television.
Yes,
it's like, how special is that for you and your teammates?
It's very special. Not a lot of people get this opportunity, and I feel like we're all very grateful to showcase our talents here. And we're very excited, and we're going to play our hearts out for sure.
Without giving away any secrets, what do you got to do on the offensive side of the ball in order to be able to break through a very good Canyon defense?
Coach Clayton and Coach Brown really have a great game plan going for us. We just need to stay true to it. We got to believe, and we got to execute to the best of our potential.
And now let's go to Canyon players. This is their junior center, Pola Nu. Sorry for mispronouncing your name. This happens every week. I mispronounce someone's name every week. Pola Nu. And then their defensive back, senior Raymond Stanley. Both these interviews, all these player interviews, courtesy of our photog extraordinaire, Jack Green.
Man, 2-1 right out the gate. It's what's been working for this team, especially on the offensive side of the ball?
We have a really good offensive line this year. We like to pound the rock, as Coach Leonard, offensive line coach, but we also throw the ball a lot. We have a good receiver, Harry Hassman, and we have a good quarterback, Reese Dietrich. He's doing real well.
What do you like when you take the field, whether it be in a practice or in a game? What do you like about this offense of your dogs that you go out to war with every week?
I love our team aspect. Like, we're all in with each other, and like we're always going to have each other's backs, so to say.
They say iron sharpens iron. This defense looks like it's coming along from week to week. It seems like they just keep getting better. How is the defense helping you guys prepare for obviously now what's going to be another couple of very tough games coming up?
Yeah, so when we have a defense like this, it really sharpens like our skill level. When you have a defense that can, go swat the ball in the air, a D-line that can go run and stop the run, it just helps us to when we play teams that are good at those things, but we see that every week. So it becomes easy, but not easy at the same time.
How much has the transition been? You got a new coach coming in this year. Has he implemented a whole lot of things, or is it kind of like pretty much status quo with maybe a wrinkle here or two there?
Well, no, I think Coach Leonard has really smoothed out like all the wrinkles. He's brought in grit to tougher for longer, and it's really helped us. When in tough games, like we always win in the fourth quarter, that helps when we have our grit behind us.
How big was that win against the big rival to get that win?
It was real nice, Yeah, it's good to win the last one.
How important is that in momentum and moving forward, giving you guys the confidence? It was like, you had a tough week 1 loss, but then all of a sudden now you've had 2 very good wins against quality opponents. How much confidence has that given you guys?
Well, yeah, as you know, it's in-town rival, but it's only non-district. This doesn't help us after regular season, so it was a good confidence booster, but it's not. We don't, like Coach says, don't bite the cheese. We still have a bunch of more games to play.
You get to showcase your talents on TNL this week.
Yes, sir.
For a chance for all of South Texas to see. How special is that for you guys? Because it's not only the football team, it's the entire New Braunfels Canyon community that gets to showcase. So how special is that for you guys that you guys got picked for TNL?
It's great. We had a TNL game last year. We got to show off what we're about, and we're good because we have some players out here that don't get as much coverage as others, and they're dogs too.
Without giving away any secrets, what's this offense got to do in order to beat a very good Boerne-Champion defense?
They have a good defense, but I think we have answers for their answers, and I think it's going to be a good game.
Man, 2-1 to start the season. It's what's been working for you guys?
Oh man, really just playing hard, believing in our game plan, what our coaches teach us, and just giving it all we got. Like that's really what it is. Like.
What do you like about this defensive unit when you take the field with these dogs? It's whether it be game or practice. What do you like about it?
Oh, like we play with heart. It's love. We all believe in each other. Just never put anybody down. Just move on to the next play and just keep going and just keep fighting.
How are you as a senior? How are you getting these younger guys to build into it? Are you kind of a leader by showing? Are you a leader by voice? What kind of leadership are you showing out there?
I can say I'm a vocal leader. I'm a vocal leader. Just speak what I think that's on my mind and just let them people know. It's like a culture thing. Like when I was a sophomore, the other dudes taught me, so it just like builds on. It's just really a culture thing that Ken does. So yeah.
How much, this is a new coach this year for you guys, it was like how much changed for you guys? Did he kind of it was status quo, kind of let everything go because he was already here with a wrinkle or 2 here or there, or has he kind of overhauled a whole lot of stuff?
Man, I think he overhauled everything. He just came in here, he came and got it ain't nothing new to him. He just came in here, just got it done, and we just believed him and took on to him and just went with him. Really, that's really what it is, yeah.
Now, you were on the team last year, so you guys are no stranger to TNL.
Yeah.
But how special is that senior year? You get one last chance. You're going to be on television for all of South Texas to see. How special is that for you?
That's amazing, man. That's like a dream, man. It's just so amazing, man. Just my last year, I just lost for words right now. Just happy to be in this position right now.
Without giving away any secrets, what's this defense need to do in order to be able to slow down a very good Boerne-Champion offense?
Yeah, they look good on film. That's a good team, 3-0 team right there. Just we got answers for their answers. Just play hard and play tough, man. That's all I can say.
So that's all we got for you this week on the High School Hype Squad edition of the Sneakers and Cleats podcast. This is one of my favorite ones of the week. Like I said, we're 3 days a week now, so Monday is going to be overreaction probably as of this week. Wednesday's high school oriented all year long, and then Friday we will be looking forward to UTSA's game, which is on Friday night. So we'll get that posted a little early on Friday, and then we will preview the now Aaron Rodgers-less Jets visiting the Dallas Cowboys and the Longhorns trying to stay hot. It'll be me and not David, or not Chuck, not Don, not Zach. It'll be me and David Chancellor once again. Bring that young man back on the podcast. We'll get David in here with his Cowboys fandom, which is already insufferable. So, quick reminder, you can get this podcast wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. The YouTube version has video elements of all the sound bites and some other video plugged in along the way. Please download, subscribe, rate, review, unsubscribe, resubscribe, re-rate, re-review, give us a 5-star rating, give some feedback. Feedback is a gift, I hear. We'll see you on Friday right here on the Sneakers and Cleats podcast.